Why is everyone broken in this world? Has this question also crossed your mind? Having everything, being bored with this world, searching for something that you don't even know, but forgetting yourself to find it, and being angry with yourself when you don't find it, makes you want to hide in some corner of the world. What happened to you too? If yes, then this video is for you. A lesson to avoid this boredom and brokenness, after watching which you will be able to save yourself from this trap. Be sure to watch the video till the end and express your opinion. If you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. A man who was standing in the corner of the elevator, silent, looking down. He had a hoodie on his head, the same jeans he had worn for 3 days, and a broken phone in his hand. The building was full of noise. Technologists and investors were laughing, talking about billions, but he didn't belong here, not yet. The world was falling apart. The financial markets were on fire. Dreams were turning to ashes, and Elon Musk, yes, the man people now call a genius, was desperate. He had just sold PayPal. He made millions, and lost most of it trying to launch 2 companies that everyone called crazy, Tesla and SpaceX. People thought he was a fool for betting on rockets and electric cars at a time when banks were failing, and jobs were disappearing like smoke. But this story isn't about him getting rich, it's about why most people stay broke, and how some like him get broke. Because being broke isn't just about money, it's about a mindset, a purposeless life, a trap, and that trap starts to take hold when you stop believing. Elon's story didn't start with millions. It began in a small room in South Africa, reading science fiction, dreaming of the stars while the world around him was falling apart. His parents divorced. He was bullied at school so badly that he was once in the hospital fighting for his life, books and thoughts in his head. Dreams were his only escape. He came to America with nothing. No money, no connections. All he had inside was this feeling, if I can think differently, I can live differently. But here's the truth. Most people never get to that point. Most people give up at the first door that doesn't open. They don't even try. They're told, get a secure job. Don't dream too big. You're not smart enough. Don't accept this reality. They just listen to everyone and don't act. They probably have accepted that they can't do anything because of it. They listen to everyone else say they are, but they stay broken, not just financially, spiritually, emotionally. Their minds become small. Their hope dies. They wake up every day just to survive. And the worst part, people start calling it normal. But Elon refused to be normal. When everyone else was running from danger, he ran into it. He took the $1 million he made from the sale of PayPal and put $1 million into SpaceX, $1 million into Tesla, and $1 million into SolarCity. He didn't even leave enough space for rent. People thought he was out of his mind. Here's the easy way to avoid this trap. You have to bet on yourself when no one else will. If you wait for permission, you'll be broke forever. Because this world doesn't reward the cautious. It rewards the brave, the obsessed. People who stay up until obsessing about something they haven't been paid for yet. That's what Elon did. When Tesla couldn't afford to pay the salary, he used his own money. When SpaceX rockets failed again and again, he didn't back down. After the 3rd failed launch, the press shut him down. They called him a fraud, a rich guy. Playing with rockets, his friends told him to stop. His advisors begged him to quit. But quitting is easy for those with small dreams. Elon's dream was so big that it hurt. So he borrowed money, he slept on friends' couches, he stayed on the edge of bankruptcy, because he believed that what he was building was more important than comfort, more than applause, more than being liked. Here is another easy way. If your dream doesn't scare you, it's not big enough to set you free. Most people stay broke because they choose comfort over growth. They prefer security over risk, and comfort over validation of their vision. But here is the hard truth. Security is an illusion. Comfort is a cage. And playing it safe is the fastest way to regret. You want to know why most people stay broke? Because they work for money instead of making money work for them. They buy their time for a paycheck and never ask, what if I made something that worked while I was sleeping? They scroll for hours, watch others live, complain, compare, always judging others but never building. Because building takes courage, faith, focus, all the things this world tries to take out of you. But Elon, he kept building, and in December, when all was lost, SpaceX launched its 4th rocket. It didn't crash. It flew. That one success changed everything. NASA called. Investors believed again. Tesla got funded. And the man everyone called a fool became the future changer. Here's the truth. No one tells you. You're one step away from changing everything to achieve your success, but you'll never see that success until you're willing to chase it. Elon figured it out. It's better to be broke chasing your dream than to live someone else's broken life. If you want to avoid the trap, you have to stop thinking like a victim and start working like a builder. Turn off the noise, burn out the distractions, let go of those who laugh at your vision, start learning, start failing. Once you fail, nothing can stop you from succeeding. Start building something, anything that brings your dream to life. You don't need permission, you don't need to be perfect, you just need to start. And the moment you do, you're no longer broken, because real wealth isn't measured in dollars, it's measured in belief, in courage. How far are you willing to go when everyone else gives up? And Elon, he kept going. But the real story has only just begun. The fourth rocket had flown. SpaceX was safe. Tesla had gotten its funding hours before it would have shut down forever. But if you think that's when things got easy, you're wrong. Because the moment you avoid the first trap, life will trap you in a bigger trap. Here is what most people don't see. Success doesn't free you from stress. It multiplies it. The world starts to notice. Expectations rise. Enemies multiply, and they become everything. But Elon never gave up. Because the man who walked through the fire with no money was not afraid of the heat when given the opportunity. This is another reason why most people stay broke. They think success will save them from hard work, but real success, it demands more energy, more vision, more sacrifice. And the biggest price, loneliness. Yes, no one talks about it. But let's be real, most people stay broke because they are afraid to walk alone. They want friends, likes, validation. They want people to applaud when they speak. But in the end, what they really get, silence and doubt and criticism become their destiny. Do you want to rise? Do you want to create something legendary? You have to be comfortable with being misunderstood. Elon announced that the Model S would be all electric, safer than any other car, and capable of beating Ferrari in top speed. The automotive world laughed. Experts mocked him. GM executives mocked him behind closed doors. Media headlines tore him apart. But Elon didn't respond with words. He responded with action. He built, he tested, he refined. While others were talking, he walked away. And here is the next lesson. When you argue, someone else is doing the work. When you wait for the perfect moment, someone else is failing fast. When you doubt yourself, someone else is learning, building, growing. When you keep getting caught up in the cycle of overthinking, you can never escape the fear and procrastination that will break you. Elon got the gist of it. Speed wins. Rush to fulfill your dreams. But in learning, in action, in course correction, try to understand and act well. You build. If it fails, you fix it again. You try to rebuild it as well as possible. That's how Tesla beat the odds. That's how SpaceX landed a rocket vertically, which NASA said was impossible. That's how Elon went from almost bankrupt to starting the most valuable car company on the planet. But none of that matters if you don't fix the trap inside your mind, or you think your parents' dreams are going to come true, or your boss is going to get in the way of your goal. But it's all in your mind. You stay broken because somewhere along the way, you stopped believing that you could make your own way. Someone might laugh at your dream. Maybe you failed once and it was so bad that you didn't try again. Maybe you were taught to wait. Wait for someone to pick you. Wait for the system to change. Wait for the economy to improve. But Elon never waited. He picked himself. Nobody let him start Tesla. He just did it. Nobody approved SpaceX. He risked his money. Even when he wanted to start a tunnel company to beat traffic, he just started digging. Literally. He called it the Boring Company. The media thought it was a joke. He even sold over $1 million worth of flamethrowers in 4 days to fund it. See, it's not just about the money, it's about the mindset. Most people are broke because they wait to be taught, but the rich, they teach themselves. They buy books instead of shoes. They spend hours studying instead of scrolling. They build habits, not excuses. They stay curious. Obsessive, they don't just work hard, they work smart. They learn skills. They build networks. They build products. They invest in themselves every single day. And you know what's scarier than breaking up? Waking up 10 years from now and realizing you never even tried. That's the real tragedy. That's the real trap. Elon is not God. He's not supernatural. He just refused to stop. And that's the final lesson of this chapter. You don't have to be smart to avoid the trap. You just have to be consistent. Start small. Stay focused. Do it daily. Fall. Get up. Try again. Your first idea might flop. Your second might get ignored. But your 10th, it could be the one that turns your life upside down. Most people never get there because they give up too soon. You want to be different, then move on. Eliminate the doubt, the noise, the boredom, the criticism, the failure. Keep your old self alive. And the day you do, you'll look back and see you're no longer broken. Not because you hit the jackpot, but because you've become someone who was never needed. It was AM. Ellen was still at the factory. Everyone else had gone home. The floor was dark. The machines were silent. The workers were exhausted. But he stood there, agrees on his hands, sweat on his forehead, waking a tiny piece of the model door latch. He could live in a mansion, on a boat, sleep in a billion-dollar bed. But freedom isn't what it seems not to him. Because here is a painful truth. Most people are broke because they chase comfort instead of purpose. They chase weekends, vacations, a break from life. Always lost in the dream of getting rich but never trying. But Elon, he built a life he didn't want to escape. Because when your work is your mission, you don't need balance, you need fire. And that fire, it only burns when your work has real meaning. You think Tesla was about building cars? No, it was about disrupting an industry designed to keep us dependent on oil. You think SpaceX was about rockets? Wrong again. It was about making humanity multiplanetary before it destroyed itself. He wasn't chasing money, he was chasing meaning. And this is where most people go wrong. They think money is the goal. But is money meaningless? It's just gold-plated misery. Want to avoid the trap? Then stop asking, how can I make money? Start asking, what can I build that actually solves a problem? Because money doesn't come from luck. It comes from sitting around learning a skill. It comes from value, and value comes from solving real problems. Look around you. Your life is full of problems that people haven't solved yet. Broken systems, boring products, slow services, outdated mindsets. Everyone is a business waiting to happen. But if you're too busy consuming instead of creating, you won't see them. That's why most people stay broke. They're used to being consumers, not builders. They wake up and scroll. Look at the envy. Judge, they chase the dopamine hit. New shows, new trends, new gossip. But creators, they do the opposite. They build. When you're building, you don't have time to compare. You don't have time to hate. You're too deep in the zone. It's true that Elon won, and it cost him everything. Sleep, peace, even relationships. But he kept going, because world changers don't need applause, they need growth. And if you want that life, if you want to be free, you have to stop waiting for inspiration. You need discipline. Inspiration is a spark. Discipline is a furnace. Discipline is waking up early when you're tired. Discipline is doing it right when no one is looking. Discipline is showing up every day, even when the results aren't visible. Elon once said, starting a company is like eating glass and staring into an abyss. Let it sink in. No posting on Instagram. No posing with fake Lambos. No quitting after months because your startup didn't go viral. Eating glass, staring into the abyss, feels like a building, and most people, they quit when it starts to taste bitter. But that's the test. The trap isn't just external, it's inside you. It's the voice that says, this is too hard. No one cares. You're not good enough. Just give up. You want to escape, then you fight that voice. Every single day. You replace it with a new voice. One that says, this pain means I'm growing. This silence means I'm focused. This failure means I'm learning. You rewire your mind. Because escaping the trap isn't about money, it's about identity. You stop saying I'm broke. You start saying I'm becoming. You stop saying, I can't. You start saying, I will figure it out. You stop blaming. You start building. And slowly your life begins to change. Not overnight. Not with magic. But with consistent, brutal, relentless action. That's how Elon did it. Not through shortcuts. Through scars. Through hour work weeks. Through crying on the factory floor. Through working on Thanksgiving. Through hearing people cheer when they thought he'd fail. And still showing up. Because that's the kind of grit it takes to escape the trap. Not entitlement. Not handouts. Just unbreakable drive. And if you don't have it yet, good. Because now you know what to work on. And once you build items, you lock in that discipline. There's nothing in the world that can hold you back. Not your past. Not your pain. Every step you take. The day the first Falcon rocket landed vertically, the world gasped. Twitter exploded. Scientists cheered. But what they didn't see was the pain behind that moment. The sleepless nights. The failures that almost bankrupted everything. The world telling him it can't be done. And yet there it stood. A rocket. Landed. Reusable. That moment wasn't about tech. It wasn't about fame. It was about proving one brutal truth. You only win when you do what no one else has the guts to try. Most people stay broke because they wait for approval. They want guarantees, safety nets, reassurance. But greatness doesn't come wrapped in comfort. It comes wrapped in risk. That rocket was built on risk. So was every Tesla, every tunnel, every bold idea Elon ever had. And you, if you're serious about escaping the trap, You need to stop playing defense. You need to go on offense. Offense is waking up with urgency. Offense is thinking like a creator, not a consumer. Offense is asking, what can I do today that moves me 1 inch closer to freedom? But let's be real, it's not easy. You'll doubt yourself, you'll fail again and again. You'll launch something and hear nothing. You'll tell your idea to people and they'll laugh at you. Even your own family might tell you to stop. And in those moments you'll ask yourself, is this worth it? That's the question Elon faced every single time one of his rockets exploded, or when the Model S had delays, or when the world kept betting against him, but he never stopped. Because he wasn't building for applause, he was building for impact. And that's what you need to understand. Money follows impact, not the other way around. Most people stay broke because they chase money like it's a prize, but the wealthy, they solve problems so powerfully that money chases them. You solve a problem, and people pay you to solve it again. You do it well, and they tell others. You do it better than anyone else, and you never have to ask for attention again. It finds you. But there's another reason most people stay broke. One no one talks about. They attach their identity to their struggle. They say things like, I'm not good with money. I've never been lucky. I come from nothing. They wear their pain like armor. But Elon, he didn't let his childhood define him. He didn't let the bullying break him. He didn't let his divorces destroy his focus. He didn't say, I've failed too much. He said, I'll figure it out. That's how you escape the trap. You rewrite your story. You stop telling the world what you can't do and start proving what you will. Look, no secret recipe. There's no perfect time. There's just now. And if all you have is $1 in your pocket, a cracked phone, and a burning idea that won't let you sleep, you already have more than most. Because that hunger, that's the seed. Water it with action. Grow it with obsession. Feed it with books, mentors, failure, and one day the world will call you an overnight success. But you'll know the truth. You'll know about the nights you cried in silence, the meals you skipped, the friends who left, the debt collectors, the breakdowns, the panic attacks, the fear. And you'll look at all of it and say, that was the price of freedom. Because freedom doesn't come cheap. It demands your full self, your time, your energy, your pain, your belief. And the moment you decide to give it all, reality give it you. Stop being average. You stop being broke. You start becoming dangerous. Because nothing is more powerful than a human who refuses to quit. That's who Elon became. Not because he had more talent, but because he had more will. And now he's not just making money, he's making history. The cameras were flashing. The world was watching. Elon Musk stood in front of the Cybertruckless cracked from a failed demo. Critics already mocking him online. And yet he smiled, because he knew something they didn't. He wasn't playing for approval. He was playing the long game. That's the final, brutal truth most people never understand. Most people stay broke because they quit too early. They want quick wins, overnight success, viral moments. But Elon, he thinks in decades. While others chase attention, he chases legacy. Because real wealth isn't just about money, it's about time, control, impact. It's about building something that outlives you. You think he cared about a broken window? He was thinking about Mars. You think he cared when people mocked his first roadster? He was thinking about ending fossil fuels. You think he cried when investors pulled out? He was thinking about tunnels, under cities. Because when your vision is bigger than your ego, failure can't stop you. And that's where most people get stuck. They make failure personal. They fail once and they call themselves a failure. They launch something and it flops and they tell themselves, see, not cut out for this, but this successful. They fail and learn. They fail and pivot. They fail and improve. That's the secret. Elon never stopped applying. Every Tesla, every rocket, every setback was a data point, not a defeat. That's how you escape the trap. You turn pain into power. You stop seeing problems as reasons to quit and start seeing them as signals that you're close. Because every level up requires a breakdown. Every leap forward comes with a fall. And the ones who make it, they're not the smartest. They're not the luckiest. They're the ones who get back up faster than they fell. Let me say this clearly, we'll get laughed at, you will fail publicly. You will lose money, time, sleep, and maybe even relationships. But if you keep building, if you stay locked in, if you fall in love with the process, not just the prize one day, the same people who doubted you will say they always believed. Because nothing silences doubt like results. Nothing kills fear like progress, and nothing is more unstoppable than someone who remembers why they started. Elon didn't build companies, he built conviction. That's what made him rich. That's what made him unstoppable. And that's what you need to build. Forget the fancy gear. Forget waiting for the right moment. Start with what you have, right now. with the cracked phone, with the tiny room, with the debt, with the heartbreak, with the fear. Start with that, because that's exactly where legends are born, in the shadows, in the mess, in the places where no one's clapping yet. And if you keep going, you learn like hell, work like hell, stay disciplined like hell. You won't just escape the trap. You'll dismantle it. You'll tear it down piece by piece and build something better in its place. A life, a mission, a legacy. So next time you see Elon Musk flying rockets or launching a new company, don't ask, how did he get so lucky? Ask instead, am I willing to suffer like he did for a dream bigger than me? Because if the answer is yes, then you're already on your way, and one day, when the world asks you how you did it, you'll smile and say, I just refused to stay broke. Now go build something they'll never forget. I hope you like my effort able video. Please subscribe to my channel and support. Please tell me in the comments what topic do you want to watch the video on. Thank you very much for our encouragement.